Hello! Today I am going to unbox this game. It is a bit difficult to read, so you may not be able to see the name of the game, but it is called Cave Evil. I'll read it to you. Cave Evil. You are a crazed, feculent necromancer. You are as ancient as ooze and more powerful than death. But there are others in the caverns determined to destroy you, and only one can control the pit of infinite shadows. Now you know. This game came to me in Essen, and I was extremely interested in the game because I like the artwork a lot. To put it in the words of my friend Michael Fox from the Little Metal Dog Show, this is probably the most heavy metal looking game that we have ever seen. And I agree completely. The whole thing is proper doom, death, extreme artwork, which I really like because it goes with the theme of the game very, very well indeed. Also, I like a lot that this game is incredibly indie produced. This is literally the result of 4 people working together, putting their money together and creating a game as professionally as they have been able to. The first impressions when I saw the game spread out in Essen were good. And I have my opinion on the game, which I will tell you about in a minute. But before, let me show you what's inside the box so you have an idea as to what this is all about. Before though, actually, one comment is very difficult to read. As much as I like the artwork, the font has been so intricately put together in this box that it has no relevance, it has no prevalence over anything else, which is something that from the graphic design point of view of any game it must have. Even if you have a very elaborate illustration, even if you have something that looks absolutely gorgeous, the name of the game should always, 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 always be on top of that in terms of the attention that it commands from the eye, because otherwise it's just a pretty picture, it's nothing to do with the game. So that, beautiful as it is, needs reworking. Maybe leave the design, but make it bigger and put it in a way that the eye will be drawn to it. At the moment the eye gets drawn here and maybe a little bit there because there's a lot of white. But that is not clear enough, so something to change, something to think about. So, the insides. Right. The first thing we see in the box, as per usual, it's the rather hefty Rules of War. As explained in there. Again, I love the artwork. It's so bizarre, it's so way out there, it's so disturbing. I don't think I want to be in the mind of who draw these things. But it's so elaborate, it's so nicely done. Very good that they have in here the components depicted. That is very nice. The layout is friendly. The layout is very friendly. The font is easy enough to read, it's big enough. Pictures of everything everywhere. The game setup. How players must construct the cave. That's very good. And then the gameplay. There is a lot in these rules. A huge lot. Goodness. 1, Okay, well, you see, I can tell you, because I have played the game, I can tell you that the rules, although they are very hefty, they are a lot simpler than the first impression of the manual give you. We played the game in about, we learned to play the game in about 20 minutes to half an hour, true, with the designer explaining to us how it plays. So that may make a difference, but don't be put off by the hefty, massive rules manuals. It's not as bad as it looks. And it is very well laid out. It's lovely to look at, even if it is disturbing. Then we have this disclaimer saying that the tiles are slippery on the map because they printed them on a rush. That's fine, you know, bigger companies make bigger mistakes. And now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 deck of cards. A bag with 1, 4, 1 and 2 d12s, and 1 blood token. Okay, 2 10s. The cards, let's open one of these, shall we? I'm not going to go very much into the details right now, because we're going to go into them in a second. Nice thick components, very interesting, very interesting design. The layout of the cards is very interesting and the bag is gorgeous. And there are a ton of them. An absolute ton. Not literally, because the game doesn't weigh a ton. Let's open another one. There you go. Lovely. Absolutely lovely. Love this. The quality of the cards is smashing. Absolutely smashing. And there are a ton of them. A little bit of cardboard to make sure that everything falls into place. Super quick start rules. Ta-da! This is why I told you that I knew that the rules are not as heavy as the manual make believe. If you can start playing with this, then you can advance from the manual and just basically have a good time. Card lots and rules addendum. Okay, that's an interesting thing to have. And then we come into the tokens. The tokens are made of board, card. Some of them are broken, just unfortunate. The card is fairly thick, it's not great. But it's fairly thick, it does what it's meant to do. And it plays well, so that's fine. I don't have any particular caveats with this. I'm happy, and we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And these tokens create the board itself. As you play, you get to lay them. And we have 1, and these are for the players, 2, 3 blisters of different paper tokens, which is what the players will be using to say what kind of monsters you have, where they are, so on and so forth. And now this is where I'm a little bit disappointed. The game itself doesn't have a board. Instead, it comes with this, which is a piece of paper, thick paper, agreed, thick paper that you put on the table, and this is where you build your board. You put all these little pieces in here to create your cave of evil, and you begin your race to start in the to get to the bottomless pit of shadow, or whatever it's called. It could be argued that the game doesn't need a board. This is enough. But I am also going to argue that this is not going to last. This is going to tear fairly easily, and I don't like that idea at all. I don't like that idea at all because it's a great game. So, but let's take a closer look at the components of the game. Let me show you first of all the components that form the table, the board. They're made of fairly porous, fairly thick cardboard, which it is actually very sturdy, which is very nice. And the one thing that always worries me, and in this case they have managed to address it very well indeed, is that everything fits very nicely. There are barely any gaps anywhere, which means that you can be safe that it will be, when you're assembling this, it will go in the right places. It's going to be slippery on that paper, so you have to be very careful with that. And I wonder if instead of the paper they made a felt rolling fabric kind of thing, it would be a lot better and these things will not slide around. So maybe an expansion, Nate? Something like that? And now, please allow me to take your attention to the cards themselves. This is probably the biggest success of this game. The layout of the cards has been very cleverly thought. You get the monster in the center, which is what kind of monster you're summoning to help you and aid you in your race for the Cave Evil goal. The cool thing is that they have designed this so you get a hexagon with different values, and that gives whatever it is on the card a massive versatility, because you can use it for many things regardless of what type of monster you are summoning. And then here at the bottom you get the icons that reflect, on the bottom of the sides, that reflect how much it costs, what domain, the strength, so on and so forth. So although this could be a tiny little bit bigger to make it easier to read, and the font could be a little bit more readable, but the art direction and the graphic design of these cards is absolutely excellent. It really is a triumph. So I cannot fault it from that point of view. The artwork works a lot better on the cards than it does on pretty much anywhere else, because it's basically pencil, and chalk on paper. Making it smaller gives it a more definition to it, and it looks absolutely beautiful. The little details in these cards is just lovely. I'm not sure about the faded edge, but that's fine. I'm prepared to go with it. And I like an awful lot the consistency, which is helped by the fact that the same person did the whole artwork for the game, which is, it has paid off. They have stuck with the theme, they have stuck with the artwork, and the whole thing looks very cohesive. So it comes to the point when I have to say whether I like the game or not. It's a very difficult question for me to answer fairly. The game plays very well. It really does. It is fast enough, unless you get some analysis paralysis. It is very deep. It can be vicious. It's long enough. It can be a pretty hefty game. So I cannot fault the mechanics. In terms of what's in here, yes, it's good. I still think the board is missing. The fact that there is nowhere of quality, just a piece of paper that you just lay on the table to put everything on top. And because of the deadline for printing this game for Essen, that paper is too slippery for the pieces. It makes it slightly difficult to play. So, because it's not a cheap game, this game will send you back, I think it was $50 or something like that. It's not a cheap game. I would be expecting something better. However, it has also been produced with the money off the pocket of some people. No Kickstarter, no funding, nothing at all. So it's a very difficult thing for me to say I don't like this, because I know how much effort is gone into it, and I have to take that into consideration. So what I would say is, if Fantasy Flight or Z-Man, or even Wizards of the Coast, and Straight on the Even, because it's not very D&D friendly, took this game and put enough money into it, this would be glorious, absolutely glorious. As it is, if you like indie games, you are not going to go wrong with this game. It really is very, very good game indeed. If you want to play something different and you don't mind that one of the components, albeit a very important one, is not up to standard, then buy this game. Genuinely good game. The components are not all there, but they could be. I'm sure they will be. And I'm not sure it should put you off to buy this game, because it will be very well worth it. I hope you enjoyed.